Hello there guys, you're listening to Ebird Online and I'm back with another review. You guys, sorry it's taken me such a while to get back with my next video, but the Euros started last Friday and the Ebird's all in. Anyway, on to all matters 90 Day Fiance, and let's talk about this epic argument of all arguments. So yet again I'm going to be talking about the actual car crash that is Mike and Natalie. And I really don't want to be rude, but I do think that it's highly likely that Mike missed just a few milestones as he was growing up. He's not the brightest spark. After watching this week's shenanigans, that is the only conclusion that I can draw from his behaviour. And guys, I gotta tell you, it's very hard to have a dog in this fight. Out of these three protagonists, there's as wrong as can be, and there's as wrong as all hell. But this week, Mike absolutely proved that he was less of a husband and more of a nemesis at this point. Just when we all thought it could get no worse between Mike and Natalie, it does. Just before we begin, thank you to everyone who's subscribed to my channel. I'm standing on the doorstep of 40,000. Thank you so much for your support. But if you've yet to do so, please don't forget to click that big red button and make eBird a very happy eBird. Subscribe to my channel and please don't forget to click the notification bell. I give you Mike, Natalie and Trash. So when we first catch up with this family, Mike's mum Trish is making him a turkey sandwich in the kitchen. It would appear she's put more effort into making this turkey sandwich than she has with her relationship with Natalie. Just so you know, it's just bread and turkey and it looks extremely dry. But that's more than enough for Mike. Mum, it's lovely, he says. Mum Trish really has set Mike's expectations spectacularly low. So this is obviously the day after Thanksgiving and these guys are packing up to go, and Trish sits on the sofa and she looks through an old box of jumble and she says, Natalie, I want you to come and pick a scarf. Oh well Trish, now that you ask so nicely. And so Natalie said, no, I won't. And Trish said, why? And Natalie said, because I explained to my mum how beautifully you've treated me over Thanksgiving. And she said to me, you should never ever listen to a woman who insults you. And I listened to my mum, so goodbye. Snap! Michael listens to his mum as well. In fact, it's the only person he seems to listen to. And Natalie goes and sits out in the car. And so Trish relays this to Mike and she said, I have absolutely no idea how I insulted her. But she didn't sound particularly worried about everything. She kept saying, ha 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 ha, and giving this ridiculous fake laugh. And then she said, I'm the big bad mother-in-law. Yes, you are, Trish. Yes, you are. And Natalie lets production know that she doesn't like Trish for the following reasons. Firstly, she made Mike cancel the wedding. Then she tried to get Tamara, the next door neighbour, to stand up and stop the wedding during the ceremony. Also, she believes Trish wants her to give up on her career. And she also dislikes Trish because Trish wants her to be an interpreter. Let's not forget that Trish allegedly called her a hooker. Also, she didn't care about what she was supposed to be eating or her being a vegetarian, and she kept on questioning her about having a child. According to Natalie, Trish puts labels on her. Yep, and I make Natalie right on this. Hooker's one of them. Oh dear. So that, Trish, is why Natalie doesn't like you. But I'd also like to add one of my own. It seems Natalie's forgotten the fact that your hair looks like Dog the Bounty Hunter. And so Natalie storms out and she goes and sits in the back of the car and Mike goes over and says, Natalie, are you having a major malfunction? And she ignores him. And then he said, why are you sitting in the back of the car? What's going on? Mike, it's like he hasn't even seen what's happened for the last 2 days. And hot on his heels is Trish. She just has to poke her nose in, doesn't she? So she goes and stands at the car door as well. So Natalie's sitting in the back. And you've got this pair of goons shouting at her as she sits on the back seat. And Trish says, Natalie, I don't know what I did or said to hurt your feelings. Oh, come on now, Trish. It was your express intention to hurt Natalie's feelings on this trip, and you achieved your aim in minimum time. You should stop now because your pants are literally on fire. And Natalie said, you said I'm crazy. You tried to stop my wedding. I don't understand the jokes you make towards me. And Mike said, what jokes, Natalie? What jokes? What did my mum say to you? What did my mum say? Just come out and speak. And Natalie just looks at him blankly. And so at this point it's quite obvious to me that Mike wants Natalie to talk about the hooker and to repeat the hooker comment. But Natalie has no intention of doing that whatsoever. And it does make the eBird wonder why. And so no, it's going to surprise everybody when I say this, but I've thought a lot about it and there's not really that much evidence to go on either one side or the other. She may have said it, she may not have, but on the balance of probability, I don't think that Trish did call her a hooker. And I've drawn that conclusion for the following reason. For reasons best known to herself, Natalie won't make the allegation to Trish. 2 or 3 times now she's had the opportunity to say, Trish, why did you say I'm a hooker, or why did you call me a hooker in the kitchen? And she hasn't done so. And I always find that when someone's either stretching the truth or telling an outright lie, it's incredibly difficult to tell said outright lie to the actual person. So she'll say it on camera, she'll say it to her mum, she'll say it to Mike, but somehow whenever Trish is around, she won't say it to her. She certainly isn't scared of Trish because she's been as rude as all hell to her in other situations. So what is it about this one phrase that you will not say to Trish? Guys, I think it's because it isn't true. But that's it, that's all I've got. I have nothing else for you in support of her not having said it. On the side of it being true, it's undoubtedly true that Trish has been trying to poke Natalie the whole time she's been staying with her. She has been very rude to her. She's been very dismissive. We remember back to the airport when Natalie said, I liked your shirt. She said, what do you like about it? Her face was as cold as stone. She's also gone on and on about her being an interpreter. And she's also tried to embarrass Natalie in some way by insinuating she should be working, she didn't keep the house very clean, and saying it's not fair on my son Mike that you don't bring money in. So she has really tried to be as negative to Natalie as is possible. So it's not out of the realms of possibility that she did wait until the cameras and the sound was all gone and call her a hooker, but I'm not sure that she did. Also, when you've got a camera crew in there, and all the lights and sound and everything, how would Trish necessarily know that there wasn't an odd mic hanging somewhere waiting to pick up her calling her a hooker? How would she know 100% that it couldn't be picked up in some way? We've all seen it happen. Remember Chris and Monique from the Real Housewives of Potomac? They were at an event with Chris's mum and she said absolutely under her breath, I'ma get that heifer together, referring to Monique, and the cameras managed to pick it up and it was played back to Monique and it caused a 2-year family rift. So I've got a feeling that if it had have been said and the cameras were outside, if you really worked on the sound, you may have been able to pick it up. So I'm really not sure. And it wasn't when the cameras had gone, it was kind of halfway through the day. So I just have the feeling overall that this wasn't said, but who knows? Guys, I'd love you to put down below if you feel that she said it or not. Of course, avec supporting evidence. However, something tells me now, we may never ever know. Guys, it's going to be the new JFK. I can feel it in my bones. So back to the car, and Natalie's still just sitting there, arguing with this passive-aggressive pair. And Natalie's going on and on about being an actress and a journalist. Natalie, oh Natalie, don't forget the modelling. We mustn't forget that now, must we? Guys, Natalie's going to be a triple, well, double, well, a threat and a half, maybe, at best. But she's going to be something, and that something is not an interpreter. And Trish is still trying to put her uneducated two-pennething, but you'll earn more money doing that. Right, Trish, so Natalie's here to earn money for your son. If it's such a big deal that people should change professions to earn more money, why don't you get your boy to change professions to earn more money? If he doesn't earn enough money now, how do you expect that she's going to have a baby? How's that going to work? Mike and Natalie's money or lack thereof is nothing to do with Trish. She's hardly rinsing him. The clothes that Natalie wears remember more than I do about the 1990s. And Natalie's making a great point. I'm not here to bring money into your family. I just want to be happy. And she said it's so disrespectful. And Mike said, why are you saying it's disrespectful? My mother did nothing to you. Why are you acting like this? And Natalie said, you better just leave. And Mike just slammed the door in her face. Both Mike and Trish are getting massively on my nerves because they're pretending as if everything's been smooth sailing, nothing's been a problem, there's this one issue, the hooker issue. And that's the reason for all of the problem. Mike, that's the reason in my mind that Natalie's made this up, because you don't seem to look at all the passive aggressive shit that Trish is doing to your wife. And so I think she's had to create this hooker issue to try and draw a line in the sand and say, this woman not only doesn't like me, but she's really displaying it openly. And I just need your support and for you to be on my side for once. Do I think Natalie handles things properly? No, I don't. She handles things in the manner of a petulant 2-year-old. But guys, Mike drives me to absolute distraction. He really does. And guys, I just have to apologise for my voice. My stomach contains more Claritin than Boots the bloody chemist. My hay fever is in another dimension. It's just terrible at the moment. I digress. Now, where was I? Yeah, that was it. Mike and his mum. Pair of MFs, honestly. But then something really interesting happened. Mike and his mum walked towards the house and Trish said under her breath, Mike, just get it done. Give her $5,000 and send her back to the effing Ukraine. Guys, this isn't the first time she's said this. The way that she said it and the fact that he didn't say, what are you talking about? Means that they have discussed this previously. She has previously told her son, get rid of this girl. So why are you being so two-faced, Trish? Why are you sitting there saying, I want my grandbabies? Where are my grandbabies? Oh, you're getting old now, Natalie. You're getting a little bit past it. But at exactly the same time, you want him to give her money and kick her out of the country. Which is it? Grandkids or deportation? It can't be both. So this to me is the smoking gun. This proves the whole grandkids chat was completely designed to discombobulate Natalie and to make her feel uncomfortable. And that is the proof in the pudding. You are as passive aggressive as your son, Trish. You really are. And Mike then says, she's the epitome of disrespectful. Why couldn't she be a woman and not act like a child? Mike, why couldn't you be a man and not act like a weak-ass biatch? But I suppose in your house, them's the rules, them's the rules. Trish has been nothing but rude to Natalie, and offering one of your raggedy-ass scarves doesn't mean anything. Nobody likes those scarves, nobody. And so finally they go to the airport. Natalie sits in the back and she's still not speaking to either one of them. And Trish says to Mike, which airline are you flying with, honey? And Mike said, ooh, I've got no idea. Oh God, he really is such a dolt, isn't he? How don't you know which airline you're flying with? You know you're going to the airport, you know that it splits into airlines, and you need to know that information in order to complete your journey, yet you don't know. And so Trish says, airline, to Natalie in the back. Is that how you're going to speak to her? And you expect an answer? You're funny. You're very funny indeed. And Natalie just ignored her. Now I know a lot of people at this point will think, Natalie's being so childish. Why would you just ignore her? Why not just tell her the airline? If somebody speaks to you like that, why would you? Find out yourself. And it's all very well saying, you know, people should take the high road. If someone's being really rude to you, just be as nice and pleasant as pie and then leave and never see them again. And I guess that is one way to behave, and it's possibly what I would have done. I think I would have given a few bobbed comments, but I don't think I'd entirely just ignore somebody. But I don't think that I can call Natalie all the way out for her attitude, because I think she tried in the first instance. Trish set the tone really early on, and Trish just gave Natalie a real hangdog blank expression, and Natalie knew no matter what I do, this woman ain't gonna like me. Natalie going rogue last week really got under Trish's skin when she's laughing maniacally, and in some senses I felt this was Natalie playing Trish at her own game. Natalie continues the childishness in the airport. She walks 10 paces behind them at all times. And Mike keeps saying to his mum, I just can't believe this. I can't believe it. She's being so childish. And Trish just keeps on saying, consider the source, consider the source. What are you talking about? I'm not sure, but I've got a feeling it's something quite nefarious. As they go to the gate, Natalie walks straight through and she says not a word to anybody. And Mike said, I can't believe it. You didn't treat her bad, you didn't call her any names, and you tried to give her many gifts I just don't understand. And I note with some interest that Trish is wearing a scarf, but she's got a really nice shop-bought one, not one of her shitty ones, the kind that she tried to give to Natalie. Interesting, very interesting. Trish says, everybody likes my scarves. I give them to all my friends for birthdays and Christmas and they all love them. No they don't, Trish. They all put them in the bottom of the wardrobe for all eternity. They're quite simply awful. And so at the end of the segment, Natalie said she was really hurt and upset with Mike because he didn't stand up for her, not once. And do you know what, Natalie? I make you right. And that's where we end things for this week. So what does the Ebird make of all this? Well, it's kind of a mess. I think all three people are in the wrong at this point, but it's just to varying degrees. Natalie did behave quite childishly, and she didn't try to build any bridges whatsoever with Trish. I know it would have been pretty much impossible, but she could have at least had a crack at it. Mike shone through with his passive-aggressive best, as usual. He's absolutely spineless. I don't know how he actually stands up straight, such is his lack of spine. Trish does all of Mike's bidding. Whatever message he wants to deliver to Natalie, he does it via Trish. Mike, what's wrong with you? Be a man, be an adult. He can't. It's not within him. Next up, Trish with her dog the bounty hunter hair. Trish, you've taught Mike his passive-aggressive skills. They all come from you. And you keep saying, consider the source, consider the source. I'm considering the source of Mike's fuckwittery. And guess what that source is? It's you, Trish. You're the bloody source. Your rudeness and invasiveness knows no bounds. And so you sit at Thanksgiving dinner, ignoring your own son and saying to Natalie, "What, you giving me a kid?" with your fake laugh. Stop being so rude. On day one, Natalie informed you she didn't want to be an interpreter. She gave you reasons for it, and she told you what she wanted to do, either be an actress or a journalist. On day two, you brought it up again. Trish, you're trash and you're trifling. But the most sinister thing that I think she's saying is, consider the source. What does she mean, consider the source? The source is where something came from. So what? Consider where Natalie came from. The Ukraine. Are you saying that everyone from the Ukraine behaves like Natalie? And guys, I have been arguing with people in my comments who keep on saying, Ebird, you obviously don't know any Eastern Europeans. Yes, I do. I live in London. It's bloody full of them. And I can tell you what, there are good ones and bad ones. There are rude ones and pleasant ones. The same as everybody else. They're no different. Are they more direct? Yes, but that's about it. I'm still not 100% sure what she means by consider the source. That's what I took it to mean. If anyone else has got an alternative view, please let me know in comments down below. I would love to hear it. Wow, that's about it. Rant over. Guys, let me know what you think in comments down below. Also let me know who you think is wrong, who you think is as wrong as can be, and who you think is as wrong as all hell. I think Natalie's wrong, I think Trish is as wrong as can be, but I think Mike is as wrong as all hell. Let me know what you think in comments down below, and I will get on with my next video. Guys, please like, subscribe and all of that good stuff. Thank you so much for listening. Your support really is appreciated. You've been listening to Ebird Online, and I bid you good day.